Good morning, Yorkshire Classic Cars Ltd fans, and welcome to what may be the last sunny day in Retford for some time, who knows. It's a beautiful sunny day. Look, sun and everything. I thought I'd do a quick workshop update of what's going on in my workshop. Some new, some old, some other stuff, but I thought I'll show you everything I'm on with. The first of which, oh, sorry, I'll mention it again in case you haven't seen my other videos. I aren't doing the little thingies with the music on anymore, because for some reason the music copyright keeps changing, then they demonetise the video, which I appreciate. You know, the 12 pence isn't a huge amount to lose, but it's just really frustrating and annoying, so I have to keep deleting the music, so I've just given up with it. I will eventually work out how to put music on there without keep changing the copyrights. It was classed as free to use, then it changed. So anyway, I digress. So back to it. First off, your friend of mine, the Anglia. Okay, the Anglia has just returned from being acid dipped. As you can see, it's in a weld through red oxide primer there, which is rather beautiful. However, you will notice that it has sprung up some issues that we didn't realise were there. So for example, here's door A. I welded up the holes there. You probably can't see them in the video, but there's some holes there that I welded up and ground back for the mirrors. It turns out on door B, there was a big patch of filler here, obviously, or thin metal that's gone through. Also, it had filler over some poorly welded up repairs here before, so I've got to weld those up and grind them back. Not a really big deal, quite honestly, on that door. That's just a little bit. Mirror holes in the wing that have just been dented in, welded up and filled over. Obviously, my welding's turned out pretty good, thank God. Which is always a worry. Some thin material here further down the wing, didn't see any of that. The painter did say, the lad who's painted it, he's ever such a nice guy, knows his job, definitely. And he said, I'll guarantee there'll be more welding when it comes back. So I thought I'd be really, really surprised. And I've got to say that now acid dipping may be the future for me. Little bit here, I welded up this section here. As you can see, I fabricated all that in. This was lead loaded down here, I believe, and they've lead loaded over the holes, so they need welding up. One of the real dramas is the boot lid. The boot lid is rough. There's shonky repairs been made to it here, and it's like they've just bashed it in here to get filler in it. Excuse me, still have a chest infection. Tiny little pinhole there. This was under so much filler you just couldn't see it, and it is literally like wriggly tin. I mean, the rest of it is, you know, where I repaired it and everything, it's solid as a rock. Same here. Okay, another shonky repair in the corner there. But I have to say, short of removing all the filler and paint, it would have been near impossible to see all this. And I obviously address every area I think is of concern. And the owner obviously thought they were of concern as well. The other side where the lead loading was, again, full of rust soles, another shonky patch there. At least it's seam welded that, actually. That'd probably get away with that if I grind it back a little better. The floor, where I was concerned, this was thin, and I did say this to the owner. Obviously, I made a section and put it in there, but there is some little pinholes appeared around it, which was kind of inevitable. But also some pinholes over here where I did clean, to be fair, in here. Okay, so the back balance has fallen off. This was pop riveted on, it turns out. So that needs addressing. And a few little pinholes here, there and everywhere. Now, it is a pain. It's a pain for me, pain for the owner, pain for the painter, but at least now when we've repaired it, we will know that everything is absolutely done. There is no other hidden bits. There's a tiny bit there in the doorstep, which I'm quite surprised about, if I'm really, really honest. Obviously, I made the repair sections in here. They're all still good, obviously. This side floor was always better, so this is still good. But yeah, just a few little sort of annoying bits like this here. Nothing's, you know, it's not irreparable. Not major amounts of work. The floors are the only bit that's a bit of a worry, because they are quite thin even now. But we'll see. Some really, really major dents been filled up. But of course, that is why you fill and repair bodywork. I don't know if you can see the dent in the door there. It's here. Okay, that's quite a big dent. And there's some really big ones down here. I don't know if you can see them again, but they are quite bad. So yeah, that's the Anglia. So that's back. That needs a little bit of welding doing on it to go back to the painter. It's not years of work. It's good to see it. You can get rid of it. There's some in the bulkhead as well that I can't show you because I've just rested the bonnet back on. The bonnet is good. There's a little bit in the front panel, the bottom of the panel under the slam panel, which we didn't see. Again, that's why you have it done. But I have to say, it would have been possible to miss those because of the filler and stuff. So I'm kind of glad he's done it, and we'll get that sorted out. You'll notice the big Rover is on the ramp. The owner came in to pick up the fuel tank earlier, which I whipped off for him yesterday. So he wants to get it cleaned, and well, he was going to have it cleaned and powder coated, but I've talked him out of it purely because powder coating. I don't really like powder coating anyway, but they sandblast it, and the sand tends to get into everything. It's difficult to keep it out, even if you mask it up. So I recommended that it's probably better if I just clean that and 2-pack spray it, but obviously I can't do that at the moment. But I will say the big surprise under here is the floors are exceptionally good. The tunnel floor area right down to the sills. We gave it a bit of a clean up just to have a look, and it is very, very, very good. I appreciate the top half of the car has some rust in it, which, you know, inevitable. It's not a modern car, it's not new. But most of the rust is pretty superficial, to be fair. It's solid up there. You know, there's some rust, but it's a surface rust that will clean out. You know, I'll have to make some sections in here, but nothing particularly major. And obviously I have to redo the sill, which was done elsewhere. And it's just not to the standard he wants. So if you were getting, you know, if it was for an MOT, it'd be perfectly fine. Next one in on the ramp. I love this car. Okay. This is a customer's car. It came in for a gearbox swap. Turns out that the engine is a very, very old Chrysler V8 from the early 50s, and unfortunately the gearbox he supplied won't fit to it, so he's purchased another engine to go in it to make it usable because he wants to drive it around. If you know what that car is, please tell me. I'm not going to show you the badges. I know what it is, obviously, but it is a thing of beauty. Okay, if you've looked at my Facebook page, you'll know what it is because I've told people. Taking the engine out was absolutely horrifically terrifying. It's a cast iron big block. It weighs a ton. And here, it is very, very narrow. So it's very much like a Mark II Jaguar. It tapers together at the front, which is a little bit scary when you try to get the engine out. And there's literally about 1/8 of an inch at each side. You just have to fiddle it around. Did it all on my own, which is obviously a bit of a concern. But like all things, take your time. Do it right the first time. And if you think, well, this is taking forever, it's better than damaging something. I've a burgundy Stag in over here. That's in full body resto. Okay, so that's going, it doesn't look bad on the pictures. That's his windscreen on the roof. It won't damage anything before anybody worries. But it is, unfortunately, very, very full of filler. Excuse me. If I zoom in a bit there, you might be able to see the track marks in the filler there. He's supplied me with all the panels, which are up there and over there. Okay, so he purchased those himself, sills, inner sills, stuff like that. So that's pretty much full body resto. Under the bonnet, weirdly, and the actual bonnet itself, like brand new, the engine runs perfectly. So I'm not going to disturb that. It doesn't want it sprayed under the bonnet. I'm not taking the engine out unless we really have to. Don't think we will, but then you never know till you get there. But yeah, that's an early Mark 1, and I like it a lot. Very, very pretty little car, or it will be once it's all back to being steel and not fiberglass. This car came in for cylinder heads. I'm about to phone the customer about that because unfortunately there's an issue with the cylinder heads. I started shooting a video on it. If you've seen my other Stag videos, you'll have seen that I am good at getting Stag cylinder heads off. This is his engine over here. As you can see, it's had to come out of the car because my little tool, which as you can see I have bent irreparably there, will not move them. They have been Loctited or glued on or something down the studs. I've made this custom tool here to screw onto the stud, 7/16 UNC, and I was going to bar down the centre of that with a long 6mm drill bit and then bar out the stud, but they are so hard I can't drill them. So I think, unless anybody can comment up and give me an inclination on how to go and get these heads off, I don't think there's any saving this engine, unfortunately. This is what happens when people who rebuild engines who don't know what they're doing do Stag engines. They've used some sort of sealer or Loctite, and all that's happening is the studs are breaking off clean with the top of the head here. Now, I've had that loads of times before. You weld a washer on and then weld a nut to it, as you can see here. However, they will not move. I have never ever struggled to get heads off with that tool. I've taken, gosh, must be hundreds of sets of stag heads off in my time, here and when I worked for Yorkshire Triumphs, and I've just never struggled. It can be time consuming. I mean, some have taken overnight, but I've left this jack in there now for over 4 days and they won't move. I've heated these, I've welded to them, I've preheated them, I've done all I have. I even carefully tried to put a pin drill down the edge of there, like a 1mm bit, and squirt some plus gas down there. I've heated them, I've cooled them, I've tried to drill them out, and I can't get the damn things out. They are stuck like poo to a blanket. You can see there where it's recessed the head, but they are like concrete. I've heated them and cooled them in case I'd hardened them by heating them. I've rung my machine shop and he can't get them, he's no idea how to get them off either. I think they've rendered the engine scrap, quite honestly, which is a real pity. But I need to discuss that with the customer and see what the next step is, because I have nothing left in my artillery for that, unfortunately. Usually, I mean, you don't usually need to take any of these out. If they're all stuck, you can usually just push the head off regardless. This will move them. I only ever used a 1-ton jack. That's a 5-ton jack. And it won't entertain them. It won't move them a millimetre, not even 1/1000 of an inch. So beyond that, I have no idea. If anybody else has got any spiffing ideas on how to get those out, I have no idea what to do. So, like I say, I've never struggled ever in my entire life. And I'm beyond anything else. I mean, I've heated these up, cherry red. I've had them glowing, you know, and it will not pop. There's like a residue. If I show you a bolt, I don't know if I've got a bolt to hand. The bolts are under here. I can't get to them. Oh, there you go. There's one there. The head bolts came out eventually, but if you look, there's like a residue on them. Now, usually if that's Loctite, when you heat them, it will soften and it'll allow you to bring them out, but these will not. And as you can see, they're just caked in it all the way up. The studs are like brand new. The engine was rebuilt about 10 years ago. And the studs, I think they may be stainless steel, in fact. But whatever they've used on them, this is like, it's like exhaust putty. It's like concrete. It's just, heat doesn't affect it. Nothing affects it, but they are stuck. So, yeah, that's a terrible disaster, really. But there are some options available, and I'll talk to the owner about it. So, you know. So, yeah, that's where we're up to at the moment. Busy, really. Just kind of between little jobs and stuff. Obviously, need to get the Anglia sorted straight back to the customer. The SD1 I can't work on until the black car is gone, because I don't want to damage the paintwork, and it is quite a rare car. If you know what it is, if you know, you know. And I don't want to damage anything. A, I don't like damaging people's cars anyway, but B, I haven't got a cover big enough for it, and C, if I damage anything, it's not like buying a door for an Anglia. I know they're not commonplace, but they are out there for that. It's highly unlikely I'd get another. So, you know, in the interest of not damaging the windscreen or the doors or the paintwork or anything, it's dusty, but that's, you know, that's just a wash. That's not an issue. However, I am quite keen to get started on the SD1, I have to say. Get a bit done on that, a bit done on the red Stag, the burgundy Stag. I should have been on with both of those, but unfortunately the Stag engine and the black car needing the engine changed has sort of held things up a bit. But that's the nature of the job. Anywho, if you like the video, please hit like. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell. That helps me a million times, and quite honestly, I'm really desperate to get over 200,000 subscribers, so that'd be brilliant. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Stay in touch, keep going. Here I am. Happy days. Bye-bye.